I had a really fun time putting this talk together. It's one of my favorite ways of talking about what works and how to get there and what it feels like and the practical ways that all of us can learn the kind of the metaphysical qualities that we talk about here. In fact, like I say every time, you guys have pretty much covered with the songs and the lyrics. If you're paying it, you've already covered what I'm going to do here. But I'm going to try to give it to you in a little bit different way, that maybe it'll sink into a different part of your mind, so that when something crazy happens, you'll be able to remember it in a new way. We'll store it in another part of your brain. Okay? Did you, as an example, did you know that the alphabet song and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star are the same melody?
Yeah.
Did you know that? I was in my 40s before I realized that, because they were burned into different parts of my mind. So I'm going to try to help you do that. So it's called At Home. It's called At Home in God. So 5 points here I want to try to make with. Start the timer. There's 5 points that I'd like to make. The first thing about at home, this idea of being at home with God, is you can't do it unless you decide that you want to be here. Right? That you want to be here, that you want to take up space in the world, in this world, that you have something to do here. Right? That can be a real obstacle, because a lot of us growing up as children just felt in the way and underfoot. Right? And sometimes in our jobs and in our relationships, we just think it would be better if we just took up a little less space. Right? Well, the path to the understanding, the path to the decision that you want to be here, the Course in Miracles says, is through forgiveness. It sounds kind of counterintuitive. I'm a Course in Miracles person, and forgiveness is the main lesson in the Course in Miracles, and it's a tool. It's a tool like in the forest. If you get a thorn, you take a thorn and you dig out the other thorn, and then what do you do with both of those other thorns? You throw them away. That's what forgiveness is about. God doesn't forgive because He doesn't condemn. Right? We're the ones that need forgiveness. And we need to begin by forgiving ourselves for who we are and who we're not, and what's happened to us, and what we did and what we didn't do, and how we're colored and how we're gendered and how we're shaped, and the experiences we have and the talents we've had and the talents that we don't have. A lot of us think that it would be better if we were somebody else, or had different talents or different circumstances, or were born at a different time. It's very, very seductive, especially in America. Course in Miracles says, God's plan stands before you like an open door, with warmth and welcoming, calling from beyond the doorway, bidding you to enter in and make yourself at home where you belong. Here is the answer. Would you stand outside while all of heaven waits for you within? And I was putting this together. I'm of a Southern Baptist upbringing. My father was a Southern Baptist preacher. Yeah. So if I start yelling and screaming, you know that. The old Baptist hymn, Softly and Tenderly, really started playing. Anybody know that? Anybody know that one? Softly and tenderly our home is calling, calling for you and for me. Come home, come home, ye who are weary, come home. It's really hard not to be yourself. You will tire yourself out trying to be somebody else. Take it from me, from my own personal experience. Come home. It's the voice of the Holy Spirit. It's the voice of your inner self. Decide that you want to be here. And the way to do that is to forgive yourself for believing the world when they told you it would be better if you were somebody else. The second thing that we confuse with home is our bodies. Right? We think we live in we think we are our bodies, and what happens to our bodies is us. Right? Of Course in Miracles ask us to think of it as a temple. And what makes a temple? The altar is in it, right? It's sacred and it's dedicated to a specific purpose, right? We can have and use our bodies that way, but we are not our bodies. Of Course in Miracles, probably the phrase that she says the most in A Course in Miracles is, I am not a body, I am free, I am still as God created me. It's the thing that Course in Miracles says the most. So in Lesson 93, she says, light and joy and peace abide in me. Light and joy and peace abide in this body. Light and joy and peace are what is breathing me and what is beating my heart, what is giving me a passion, putting my talents out into the world, my desire to love and embrace the world and share my talents with the world. Love and peace and joy abide in me. I am the home of light and joy and peace. Does it feel odd to say that? Want to say that with me? I am the home of light and joy and peace. I am the home of light and joy and peace. With emphasis now. I am the home of light and joy and peace. How does that feel? You feel different at the end of that than the beginning of that?
Yeah.
Ready to sing it.
Right? Ready to sing it. There's a song there somewhere, right? The third thing I'd like to bring about in this idea of putting home into practice, using home and this idea of home to get what we want. You need to go where happiness can be found. This idea of home is where happiness can be found, and I'm going to offer you it's the only place that it can be found. But I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to use the scientific method and try it out for yourself and see if it works. Because you're not going to do it if you can know and prove that it works. But you're not going to do it if somebody says it's a good idea. Even if you understand it and don't do it, you won't be able to believe it really well. So I'm encouraging you to think about going where happiness can be found. And we've been singing it and talking about it all this morning. Lesson 66 in Course in Miracles says, my happiness and my function are one. Do you think your happiness lies in doing what God has asked you to do? Do you think your happiness lies in being who you are, unequivocally, without apology and without exception, full on, 24/7, 100%? I do. And I like meeting people that are that committed to being themselves and nothing else, are uncompromisingly themselves. The actors and actresses, singers that I like to watch are riveting because they are so fully present, so deeply, deeply present with what they're doing. They're riveting. They are doing nothing but being themselves, showing you a part of themselves. She puts it this way, God has given you your function. There are only two parts of your mind. One is ruled by the ego and is made of illusions, and the other is the home of the Holy Spirit, where truth abides. See what she said there? She's putting the ideas in our head that Holy Spirit, home, and truth is actually the same thing. Can you think about those things as the same thing? At home in the Holy Spirit, home is the Holy Spirit. Home is truth. Home is what works. Home is this deep presence. the presence of God? The very beginning of A Course in Miracles, she says, the whole idea of this workbook is so you can remove the blocks to your awareness of the presence of love. Because love didn't go anywhere. We just put up all kinds of blocks and misunderstandings and illusions about it. Those illusions are that it needs to be, the world needs to be something other than it is. We need to be something other than we are. No, we're putting things on. God is, for me, a lot about editing. Letting go. striking things out. Right? I think God is a really, really good editor. She takes away the superfluous, or what they call the chaff in biblical terms, right? We're making choices about how we do that. We're making choices about whether we're going to follow the world's idea of what works, short-term gain, privilege, and comfort. We're making choices about the institutions that we belong in and participate in that create outcomes that we do not want. The task is to listen to that still small voice that is telling us the truth. You're a pretty good person. I really like you. You're great. That still small voice, it's the voice that likes us, right? It's the Holy Spirit that's saying, you can do it, you got this. Even if you don't do it well, perfect, up to somebody else's standard, but you got this. You want to do it, you want to learn this, you want to develop this, you want to have this experience, you want to move forward. Why? Why? Because you must be yourself or you're not going to be happy. You have to listen to the Holy Spirit. You have to be the Holy Spirit in action with shoes on in the world, walking around, or you're not going to be happy. But you don't have to believe me. I'm encouraging you to try it out. There is real pleasure in pursuing what is ours to do. It's taken me almost 50 years to get the job I've always meant to have. I made some really poor decisions in the 80s. Anybody else made awful decisions in the 80s? I got a wardrobe that's awful full of awful decisions. But that is, everything I thought was wrong with me, every bad decision that I made in my life in the 80s about what I was doing to my body and the friends that I was hanging out with and what I was doing is why I have the job I have today. And why I do it so well, and why I get up early and I get up early and I go to work early every day, because I can't wait to do this work. I work in harm reduction for addiction and mental illness and homeless stuff. That's how I make the bulk of my living. And I know what home feels like, and that's the point I want to make to you now. What does home feel like? Because you've got to have a touchstone of what that feels like, about what that is like. Like, you know what your mother's embrace probably feels like. You know what it feels like to be in love. You know what it feels like when when they have your favorite chips back in the store, right? It's like you know what that feels like. You need to have an idea of what home feels like, so you have a touchstone, so you can evoke it and put it back. Lesson 124 says, "Let me remember that I am one with God." Because it's a memory. We are training our minds to remember the truth and not be seduced into or not believe in the really simple ideas often in the marketplace, that it would be better to be some other way than it is to be you. And I can sell you something to fix that. Right? She says, today we will give thanks for our identity in God. Our home is safe, protection guaranteed in all we do. Power and strength are available. available to us in all our undertakings. We can fail in nothing. Everything we touch takes on a shining light that blesses and heals. At one with God and the universe, we go our way, rejoicing that God is with us. I cannot go your way. I cannot be you. I cannot do what is yours to do. You cannot do what is mine to do. I must go my way. I must go my way and rejoice that God goes with me. That's what home feels like. I know I'm on the path. I know I'm on the way. I know I'm doing what is mine to do. I know I'm secure. I know I'm safe. I know that there is power and strength in what is mine to do. I'm not doing it alone. I'm not doing it because I have to. I'm doing it because I'm absolutely am compelled to do it. I'm compelled to share with you my life. I'm compelled to share with you what I know is true, what I know about the world, and all of us are going to be teaching that every single day. We are going to be that being in the world. We are going to live and breathe and occupy that space and walk through that space and teach the world what we think we are. Which brings me to the last piece here. It's about demonstrating it. How we're really going to know this, how we are really going to be able to make this a solid practice in our life, how we're really going to be able to demonstrate and walking around and people want to know, why are you so happy all the time? You know, how come nothing gets you down? How come you can't be insulted? How come nothing hurts your feelings? It's because you can't convince me I'm something that I'm not.
Yes. I'm
not going to entertain one single minute about, being teased about some way that I am. If you're a bald guy, you know that everybody thinks you're sensitive about being bald. I'm not sensitive about being bald. If you know who you are, really, really know who you are, if you know what you're supposed to do, you can demonstrate yourself in the world, and nobody can convince you otherwise. Nobody can take you off track or get you to believe that there's a better way to be you, and you should listen to me, right? She says in lesson 139, I will accept the atonement for myself. To demonstrate it, we have to remember that we are coming home, and we are coming home as an act of oneness. She says, and I'll wrap it up here, only acceptance can be asked of you, for what you are is certain. It is safe forever in the holy mind of God and in your own. We have a mission here. We did not come to reinforce the madness of the world. Let us not forget in the goal we accepted, it is more than just our happiness we came to gain. What we accept as what we are proclaims what everyone else must be. Fail not others, for you will fail yourself. Look lovingly on them, that they know that they are a part of you, and you a part of them. Do you see yourself in others? Do others see themselves in you? It's not an accident. That's how it is. That's really how it is. If this idea of oneness is anything, that's what it is. The old gospel song comes to mind again. Softly and tenderly. Pretty good, pretty good. Softly and tenderly, not demanding, right? Our home is calling. Come home. Come home. It's where you want to be, and I want to know you in your home. I listen to the voice that likes me. And she tells me that we are one. And I act like it. Thank you.